Welcome, witches! Who doesn't love a good horror? Whether you're an avid fan who can chow down on some dinner whilst absorbing the most gruesome, disturbing visuals the twisted champions of horror can throw at us, or you're a novice traveller exploring the darkest corners of Netflix, there is something for everyone in this bloody genre. But even those who like their steak truly bloody know that there are some movies, especially for first-timers, that you shouldn't watch alone. From tense slashers lurking behind every corner or shrub, to supernatural hijinks that will crank your senses up to 11. These are the movies that only the comfort of another person and every pillow to hide behind in the house will quell the feelings of terror and dread. I am Nikki of Dice Hard, and these are 5 horror movies you shouldn't watch alone. Before we start, I'm focusing more on mainstream, well-known horror, but further down the line I will be going into the deepest, darkest depths of this genre, so keep your eyes peeled for that next list coming in the near future. Okay, let's dive in.
Coming in at number 5, Halloween.
Can I really make a list of horrors you shouldn't watch alone and not include one of horror's most popular, well-known serial killers? The answer is no.
Halloween is the perfect stalker horror, with the ever-present absolute unit that is Michael Myers, silently running around, posing on street corners, watching babysitters at school, and slicing his way through a plethora of teenagers. Lurking behind every corner, catching glimpses between cars on the street, Michael is the mysterious boogeyman, plaguing the people of the good township Haddonfield. In particular, Scream queen icon and fan favourite final girl, Jamie Lee Curtis as Laurie Strode.
But why? Why is he always simply just there?
Is he more monster than man? There have been so many iterations of the character, it's hard to tell. Even with the redacted sequels, the latest David Gordon Green version of Halloween only adds to the idea that there is some kind of supernatural presence surrounding the grand Myers mystique. And yet, bullets can stop him, fire can burn him, a strong enough coat hanger to the eye can incapacitate him long enough to make a quick escape. Wouldn't this suggest he is a man? A strong, evil, cruel, violent son of a bitch, but a man nonetheless.
What drives this monster? Is it a monster? Is it a man? God damn it, people, who or what is Michael Myers? Reason not to watch Halloween alone? Does anyone truly enjoy watching someone being stalked and attacked by a lone dude wearing a mask and a boiler suit by themselves? The movie creates a wonderful tension and suspense, and it'll leave anyone watching it alone wishing they had someone around to check their wardrobe for them.
But having said this, you must still watch. From the heart-pumping slow walk that creates the perfect atmosphere of tension and fear, to the grueling transition Laurie makes from harmless babysitter to badass but batshit bitch with all the guns and a basement that would make Kevin McAllister brick himself, Halloween is there to be enjoyed. Just not on your own, yeah?
Coming in at number 4, Scream. Directed by one of my personal favourites, Wes Craven, starring Neve Campbell, David Arquette, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, quite an underrated actor in my opinion, check out 13 Ghosts, and obviously the wonderful Jamie Kennedy. This movie dug up slasher horror, gave it a good old dust down, a stern talking to, and catapulted the genre back into our lives.
Scream is a story about a bunch of teenagers getting royally fucked up by a killer in a ghost face mask, who first makes sure to give them a bell beforehand just to check what their favourite scary movie is, before butchering them beyond all recognition. R.I.P. Drew. Now, the Scream movies are genuinely one of my top 10. I can watch these movies, yes, even the third one, Leave It Alone, over and over, and love them more and more each time. The meta as all hell slasher horror is just plain scary, thrilly fun. If no ifs, ands or buts. It's a perfect mixture of gore, fear and fun that makes this movie so addictive, and the constant nods to other horror franchises make for a fun Easter egg hunt.
I'll be right back!
It introduces us to Sidney Prescott, the unassuming plain all-American girl with the tormented past, who surprisingly becomes an absolute arse-kicking machine, clever enough to flip being a victim onto its head long enough to fuck up the killers worse than Saturday Night Live fucked up Ashley Simpson's career. Sorry, Ashley.
Aside from the obvious home invasion by two crazed serial killers with major daddy issues, the movie is genuinely a fun horror romp, filled with twists, scares, laughs, and is unafraid to off/seriously injure main cast members. It's the kind of film you enjoy even more with friends. You can get the references with them, you can back and forth over who they think the killer is, and to answer the phone when it typically rings during one of the major kill scenes. This movie is enjoyable alone, but it's even better with friends.
Number 3, The Conjuring. Paranormal investigators Ed and Lorraine Warren are working to help a family terrorised by a dark presence in their farmhouse. Directed by horror hero James Wan, this movie is scary as shit.
You've got demons stalking people, wardrobe bitches, sneaky pesky ghosties. What isn't there to love about this film? And true to the horror genre, you know something's about to go down when the family dog bites it.
Absolutely going out of its way to ruin childhood games of hide and seek.
No.
And from roughly 37 minutes into the film, the shit totally hits the fan. We've got ghost kids wanting to play a bit of catch, old ladies dangling from trees, the Warrens rocking up, sleeping kiddos, exorcisms. This movie is awesome. This movie makes the audience feel haunted too. You spot someone in the background and you're glad you wore your brown pants.
Reason not to watch this movie alone? Ghosts are creepy enough without them trying to possess you and make you kill your entire family. This movie is one for a cosy autumnal evening with blankets and snacks and snuggles and the promise that you will both sleep with the light on. Stealthing its way into number 2, The Invisible Man.
The story follows Cecilia, a mild-mannered survivor of abusive douchebag ex and billionaire tech mogul Griffin, following his apparent suicide. Celia is told that she is a beneficiary of Griffin's huge fortune, leading her to believe that his death is a hoax. Tense right out of the gate, we have no idea what is going on, but we are all in. Once he escapes, she begins to try and rebuild her life with the help from her best friend and his daughter. The tension of the first scene is still there. It never truly leaves. C's clear PTSD keeps her haunted, as she can barely make it out of the house to get the mail. And when she accepts the money payout from Griffin's brother, C feels like she could maybe move forward, use the money for good, and help those that have been helping her to get back on her feet. However, merely hours after we find out she's taken the money, that tension is brought back and then some, as C is haunted by an invisible presence that she has concluded is the work of Griffin and the use of his mad scientist technology. What follows is a psychological and physical assault on Cecilia from an unseen assailant. This torturous journey builds the anger and frustration of both C and audience, as no one believes the awful things that are happening to both Cecilia and those around her are the cause of Griffin. Tension is masterfully built, not just in the directions of the characters, but the wide-angle, drawn-out shots, fitting room for a second person in the scene at all times. It is a wonderful technique that upon extra viewings really adds to the tension. Leigh Whannell's wondrous horror chops are on full form here, as there's no single moment in this movie where we ever feel like we can relax. Even when the film is over, the feeling that someone could be right next to you the entire time and you wouldn't even know doesn't go away. Until you've watched about 3 hours of cartoons and surrounded yourself in talcum powder, or had a paint party, I don't know.
Reason not to watch this movie alone? Besides the obvious trigger warning for some, this movie is so good at creating a sense of paranoia, you really can't help but begin to feel the hairs on your neck stand on end. From start to finish, you'll probably want someone nearby for this one, just for emotional support, physical support, and probably to give you a nice shoulder massage at the end because of how tense you will be from watching this movie. And finally, number 1, The Strangers. Creeping its way onto my top spot, this movie gave me actual chills and genuinely had me pretty nervous when I was on my lonesome for a little while afterwards. The Strangers follows doomed couple Kristen and James as they embark on the most miserable evening on record. Miserable from the off, we are catapulted into a spectacularly awkward scene, prolonged silences and awkward glances, and a feeling of tension. Tension continues to build as we, the audience, strive to know what the big story is. But just as we get into the nitty-gritty, there is a creepy as all heck knock on the door.
Now, if you know the rules of horror or have seen any kind of cabin in the woods type-esque movie, you know full well you do not open the door if you are not expecting company.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
At some point in the evening, our leading man bails to go and buy a pack of cigarettes. Perfect timing. You know, you just had a super odd encounter at your door, but it's fine. Just go ahead and leave your not wife there on her own. Good call. As soon as Mr. Man has left the building, poor Liv is in for it. The strangers come and they are not pissing about. Well, they kind of are, but in a sick and twisted way. Banging on doors, banging on windows, and rocking the patented Michael Myers stand in your yard and stare at you stance, these people clearly take a lot of joy in messing with their prey. As the evening wears on and Scott makes his return, the shit truly begins to hit the fan. The strangers eventually brutally forcing their way into the house and into our paranoid nightmares. The best and scariest aspect of this movie is we have no idea who these people are, what they want and why. Are they serial killers? Are they a cult? Are they the new family, or is this an initiation? What is driving this entire fiasco? Because they are seriously putting a lot of effort into mentally breaking these two down before they finish the deed. Add to this fact that there are no faces, just masks. Just masks. We cannot even liken these beings to humans. They could legit be demons under there and we would have no idea.
Presented in real time, the movie takes a little while to get going, but we're constantly being reminded of the time. So, when the shit finally hits the fan, we realise this poor couple literally have just 2 hours to survive. In movies like this, we're used to seeing the victims, or at least one of them, overcome their attackers, outsmart them, hide from them, kill them. This movie rips out all hope and leaves you with an empty vessel of nothingness. God damn! These people torment this couple for hours and hours before they even set foot in the house. That's some diabolical shit.
Culminating in one of my top 5 kill scenes for its prolonged, brutal and cruel attack, this movie does not hold back. And after all is said and done, we're left once again with silence and a giant question mark over our heads. What the fuck was all that about?
Reason not to watch this alone? Did you just hear anything I just said? Masked, deranged, legit psychopaths just lingering outside a house and eventually butchering the 2 people inside after tormenting them for hours on end. I defy anyone to watch this movie and not do a quick parameter check at the end of the night. Safety in numbers, guys. And that concludes my list of movies that I personally feel you should never watch alone, be it because they're a little bit too creepy, or it's just a lot of fun to watch it with your friends and have a laugh about them. I'm Nikki of Dice Hard. Happy hauntings.
Thank you very much for watching this video, it really means a lot to us. If you liked what you've seen here, click on that subscribe button and Dice Hard will bring you all sorts of lovely geekiness every week. Why not even pop over to our website at dicehard.net. And if you want other people to stumble across our channel, feel free to shove this video in front of their eyes at every opportunity. Tatty bye!